Hello, Mech fans. This is Duncan Fisher. Hold on firmly to your mana potions, fireballs, and familiars, because you are tuning in to your regularly scheduled episode of the First Circuit Podcast.
And welcome to episode 131. Tonight's hosts are Ian.
Hello.
Larish.
Hey, how's it going?
Biter.
Hello! Why is that so funny?
I know. And myself, Old Bob 10025. Tonight's topics are MW feedback loop for specific topics. Daeron, what's feedback regarding maps, modes, features, new features, mechs, monetization, social and new player experiences, Clan Invasion Kickstarter Wave 1 delivered, a first impression, Rougetech adds playable tanks to Battletech.
I heard lots of words, yes.
Yes.
Very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and for our viewers who are tuning in, we are recording this on a Tuesday evening instead of a Saturday morning, afternoon, so we're all kinds of over the place today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's get on with it.
Okay.
Let's get on with the indeed. Okay, so our main topic tonight is obviously going to be the MechWarrior Online feedback loop that's gonna be going on between now and the end of the year, where Daeron posts weekly updates and we talk about them. And because Daeron decides to post them on a Monday evening,
Thanks,
we
Daeron.
have to get a
cool,
Tuesday
cool.
midnight. Thank you very much, Daeron. Anyway, last week he posted a update pertaining a lot, and I really mean a lot of both small and big topics that he's just kind of putting out there to discuss for the community. And this week he actually branched out on that one post and did a variety of posts in the forum for MechWarrior Online where you can participate and give feedback to specific topics. Let's say you really want that longbow in MechWarrior Online, go and find the Mechs thread on the MechWarrior Online forum and you can give feedback there. And yeah, I believe today we're gonna kind of go over those broad topics, broach on some of the suggestions that have already been made and relayed by Daeron, and potentially give some of our own opinions.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
disclaimer time. This is an opinion-based podcast.
Yes.
For the
yeah,
most part.
it's mostly going to be opinion, speculation. There are no major facts which watch our views decline from here.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to go ahead and point out that Daeron he did post an update on the MechWarrior Online site, basically just saying, hey everyone, we're gonna basically compress all of the information into our forums, and here are the topics that are going to be discussed. So basically, whenever you go into the forums, there's now a command share, and they're broken down into these groups, and we're going to be going in, and then our main discussions will be based on these groups of topics. Going down in order from the forums here, we have mechs, maps, new player experience, new features, monetization, modes, and social. So hopefully we're going to be putting some timestamps down below. So if you find a topic that is to your interest, we're going to go ahead and try to go through each topic, what is being discussed, and kind of put our own little twist of opinion or speculation on what we think it could be. So with going on from that, what is our first one we're going to go into, Ian?
I think it was maps.
Yeah, I
Maps?
think we should take
Maps.
the order with the notes we typed out.
Sorry, I was going from the forums. My bad. So let's go ahead and maps.
I opened the forums, and for a second I thought it was alphabetical when I started taking my notes.
It's by time.
And then I refreshed, and it's time-based. So
Yeah, it's
hey,
time
by the way,
based by the
fun
last
fact:
update.
the last update in the command share was 2018. So cool.
Whoa.
We're getting developer updates again
Yay.
after more than 2 years. Yeah.
2020. All
God,
right.
that's a long time.
Okay, so let's go
Alright.
into maps.
Okay, maps is kind of a big thing. If you watch the last episode of the First Circuit podcast, we've talked with Daeron. He already said a lot of those points, like the main things. He wants more community input on new maps. He wants to update some of the current maps that are unbalanced in the opinion of the community. Spawn point fixes. And yeah, those are his 3 points.
NASCAR stopping, basically, or having something where you can't NASCAR and stuff like that. Now the community-driven maps, I would say it's a good idea. I hope people come up with some good ideas, but I guess I'm a pessimist like on that sometimes because people come like, yeah, I want to have this, I want to do this kind of stuff. But if to do maps, I would want to see something like say on a moon, but like different gravities, being affected by ballistics and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. Like I know, like in the earlier podcasts, I said I didn't like that and I thought they couldn't do it, but I know they can. Watching some of the I guess developer games that they had no gravity, so every time you shot, it pushed you backwards or made you float or whatever. Basically, I thought it was pretty cool. But I think the community can come up with some really good maps or map ideas, and I think it'd be a good idea for that.
All right.
Yeah, and
So
we're already getting a small number of suggestions in the thread.
yeah.
However, again, if you, the audience, want to take a look at this, I highly recommend just going to the forum, reading through the suggestions, and also typing out your own.
Yeah.
Because again, this is with a lot of these things, we're just gonna say this is so broad, we can't really talk about in the podcast, so we're gonna feature the more concrete points.
Yeah.
So, like, regarding the new community-driven map, it's something we talked about before regarding how you really should get community input. I've talked about how you want a community pipeline that, to make things cheaper, you might want to do a whole bunch of work so that, the community can just feed you map designs and you could pump that into the game very quickly and easily. With this, though, an idea is just having one map, but he's saying he wants community input from start to finish. Now, it all really just depends how they envision it, and we can throw thousands of suggestions at them at this point, but yeah, it's just so broad, it's really hard to do anything with that. For the most part, it sounds really resource intensive or labor intensive to sort of constantly be going back to the community and asking, is this okay, is this okay, is this okay? Really, all you want to do is sort of ask people, hey, what kind of ideas for what theme do you guys want, what kind of extra map do you want? Do you want another snow map? Please don't make us do another snow map. You just ask for people to throw out ideas and you just choose whichever ones take your fancy. But the fact that they're asking for continual input kind of worries me.
Yeah, you have a good point though, because like it'll take forever for that to happen. Because he has to go back to the forum, and go, okay, well, they don't want to have this, let's take that out, or something like that. They should just take, you have until the 19th to go ahead and give your suggestions, and then we'll take it from there. Type thing. We're not going to take everything, but we're going to take the best that we think we could develop quicker, or the best, or like the most non-labor intensive to go make these maps and then pump them out, type thing. But like you said, if they have to go back, it's just going to take forever to go do. I don't think that's a good idea.
I think one of the major endpoints we need to take from this too is that he says new community-driven map, in parentheses, community input from start to finish. So I think what he means is we don't want. I mean, people could probably make a map in a program and try to export it to their system. I think with the input, what he means is just ideas. Like hot map.
It's probably
map.
going to play out that way. Yeah, it's just that's going to be really slow and drawn out.
Exactly.
The best thing to be would just you hire a map designer. Well, first you ask people what your ideas. You pick a neat one, and then you just tell a map designer, go out and make a map, please.
Well, they'll probably do it like this. They'll probably break it up into chunks. So like you got your planet type, your atmosphere type, and then you want buildings, yes or no. And then once you get all the input for that, then the map designer, here's your specifications, make it. And they'll probably just do that instead of actually every process. They'll go in and say, oh, well, I'm going to do this and this and this, and then come back. Well, let's change this and do this. No, they'll probably just do it in chunks. And I think that'll be the best way to do it. Instead of actually
I mean, this point, it's all speculation. So I don't think we should focus on it too much just yet. Okay, we're going to see how the process is going to go. I personally have high hopes. I'm a huge advocate for community feedback. And I'm a huge advocate for continuous feedback loops. So we're going to see how it turns out, whether they are able to find that nice balance.
Okay.
So
all right. The next two is update unbalanced maps. The simple one, the question is just how, and that's all I can ask really.
Spawn points. Fix the spawn points.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
true.
So
biggest
some
Yeah.
of
one.
the things that I've already mentioned in the thread by the community is different weather features, different map features like bomb craters and stuff like that. Anything to stop the NASCAR.
God, yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that's a lost fight at this point.
I
You're
mean,
never gonna stop the NASCAR.
here. Okay, so here's the one thing is that a lot of the maps in MechWarrior Online is that you have like a central object in the middle of the map, and everyone's like, "We got to go to the main object," because the thing is, whenever you drop, you go forward. So what happens when you go forward? You find the most central thing. Like, I think probably the best map that is made is probably was it Rubelite? Because there's nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
You have teal buildings.
If you go in the middle, you're getting shot.
Yeah, which fine, but I never see anyone go to the middle. It's always they either choose one side or the other, and because of that, you have like a back and forth.
There are
somewhat.
still rotations.
There's
in
still a
Roguelite
rotation.
Oasis. You need
Yes.
to get really awful like Crimson Strait to stop
Yeah.
the rotations.
Yeah. Or like the worst is like bog almost. Granted, I love
God.
bog,
Yeah.
but man, bog's a rotation fest. You know.
Well, I mean, I don't think NASCAR's ever going to be stopped. Unless you
No,
put a
and-
wall, right in one side and say you
Basically,
can't
what
pass that.
Daeron said, it's more social. It's not
Yeah.
really the map. I mean, I'd say I kind of disagree with them and say the map is partial fault, but a lot of it is the social aspect. So
Also, this is
I
something
wouldn't,
that has been
say it's
touched on
social.
further in the game modes thread with
Oh,
the
really?
objective based. Like this,
Yeah.
is, like you can use objectives to kind of fix NASCAR. So
True.
Yes.
True.
let's maybe talk about that in just a
Well,
second.
Yeah, finish
one of-
maps though on spawn points.
Yep.
Yeah, spawn points. I mean, this is a no-brainer at this point,
Yeah.
especially if they keep the kind of randomized queue merge, where you have
Yeah.
kind of random spawn lenses. If they keep this system, they have to change spawn points.
They have to.
At that point, it's just a question of can they do it on their own, or again, are they going to ask specific feedback?
Why don't you put like
Yeah.
random, basically you get randomly dropped. Everybody does. You have 24 spawn points. You can randomly drop around the match.
Wow.
You might be actually like right next to each other, like of the enemy 1-on-1, type of thing. You don't know, type. That'd be awesome.
I mean, it's a very cool
Yeah.
idea, but
Yeah.
Check that out in the forum in the mode suggestion as a
Okay.
special game mode.
Okay, I will.
I don't-
That'd be a
Yeah,
cool
I
game
don't-
mode.
As it is, though, at least the community has been hammering for spawn point changes because those are relatively easy to do. They have been done in the past.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
With all the mechs being of random speeds and tonnages all over the place, particularly also that the groups are always in Alpha Lance.
Mhm.
Yeah, all the maps need to be rebalanced with their spawn point changes so that teams aren't just instantly shooting each other or assault mechs are stuck in really bad positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
especially if Soup Q is here to stay for a bit. So
Weather effects would be cool too if they actually do some other ones. That'd be really nice.
weather effects, like rain, whatnot.
Well,
Sandstorms,
Sandstorms,
were
yeah.
which I find really interesting.
firestorms.
That'd be really cool. Now, real quick, going into that kind of topic, just for maps, real quick, how probable or what kind of problems would you see about putting that into CryEngine? Would it cause problems, do you think?
So there's already people hammering for River City
Performance,
not to have
alright.
time of day stuff. So
Yeah.
I would not really want to have that kind of
performance would
stuff.
probably take a
I
hit
don't think
for-
that's a CryEngine specific thing. I'm fairly certain every game engine, like you're adding a lot of particles to the screen.
Mhm.
The only
Yeah.
way to solve it in a way that's not resource intensive is to make a overlay, like export the effect as a video that you just paste on top of every player's camera. So that way every player just gets an additional video feed rather than rendering all those particles around them.
Mhm.
That could work. Yeah, that could
It
work.
can look decent,
But
depending on how they do it. It's not ideal. If they do it properly, it's probably not gonna work.
that
with
could
those big
look
systems.
really like old school, like first person shooter. Like,
I mean, it doesn't have to, but it probably would.
I would probably shy away from that for now. So,
Okay, so no map particles, no weather effects then.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
probably not
if
yet.
you keep it as a fog kind of system, we already
Yeah.
have fog on a couple maps. If you just say thunderstorm is really thick fog, I think
I
that
would like to see fog.
could be doable without too much performance impact. But that's the point where we're kind of diving into the details of how CryEngine handles particle
Yeah.
effects.
For the most part, at least with all of this community feedback, I would like us to focus on gameplay rather than aesthetics. Because we just get down in a long, endless discussion of, well, we could talk about particle effects, but why don't we just upgrade the engine? And then we have to push PGI forever to change an engine just to change the
Yeah.
aesthetics.
They won't do it.
And that's the whole other. I mean, I don't want them to change the engine, honestly, is because that would
Nope.
take 2 years or more to do anything.
They won't do it.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, so change the maps, change the spawn points, change how, perhaps drop people according to speed / tonnage, all that kind of stuff would be great. For maps, actual gameplay changes that, they should listen to the community for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so was there anything else you wanted to go in for maps?
Yeah.
No, I think
Yep. Maybe
Yeah.
one final thing. I do like the idea of having weather affect the player, like sensor distance, all that kind of stuff. If you have really heavy rain, obviously it's going to jam some signals. So that kind of thing could maybe be an implementation if
Now, that would be
performance
interesting.
works.
Yeah, or basically based on where you're at on the map, it would give you an effect. That would be kind of neat.
Oh, local weather effects. Oh,
Local? Well, I
maybe.
mean, like, I mean, great.
difficult thing with that is just it's going to affect all lock-on weapons, and that will change, how people vote, etc., according to which maps.
Well, they do that
True,
already,
true.
though. They do that already.
Yes,
It's
they
like,
do.
yeah.
But that's just based on map environmental temperature. And if
True.
you have environmental things like a lot of snow and it reduces sensor range, a lot of people might not choose it because it's terrible performance. And their beloved lock-on mech can't do anything.
Yeah.
It makes the map so generic, but yeah, I get you.
Okay.
Okay, so TLDR for maps, spawn point fixes, then potential reskins, and everything else is kind of open-ended.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Modes.
Modes has a faulty description where they copy-pasted just the description from, I believe, what was it? The social thread.
Yeah.
So
He's still not
yeah,
fixed.
modes is again kind of an open-ended topic where people are encouraged to discuss the current game modes and potentially suggest future game modes. And some of the main takeaways that I've gotten out of the first 3 pages of that thread are asymmetrical modes are being discussed, rewards for existing modes, reward changes, more meaningful objectives, and potentially different kind of objectives. And one I find so fun, but probably not doable, is Solaris Free For All with a 24-player free for all match.
I would love to see that,
I would love
but
it.
who
Okay.
knows?
Well,
if
like
that
I
would
said,
happen, but-
basically everyone gets dropped 24 mechs throughout a whole map, and then you got to battle each other. It's a free for all.
God, that'd be so
It'd be like a
fun.
blood name challenge. That'd be awesome. I think that'd be cool.
I think that'd be. I mean, one to kind of hang on that for a little bit. I think it'd just be like you could just do back-to-back matches.
Oh
You die,
yeah.
get a new mech, get back in. Like that would be so fun.
I mean, it's kind of MechWarrior Online Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
it really
that has been brought
is.
up years ago.
Ah, it's so fun.
I don't think the player base can support this kind of game mode.
No.
But just
I
have
would
it.
love
Just
it,
have
though.
it, though.
But
Just have it.
the amount of players that would go into it, would it be that much needed or wanted from the player base? They would have that player base going into it continuously.
And they'll have Urbies with small lasers. Come
But
on.
also
to pour a whole bunch of sand on all this. let's
waiting
just
for
say
it, waiting for the
that
biter.
Thanks, Biter.
Ultimately, the game always jumps down to just skirmish,
Yeah.
and there's much bigger conversations at least happening within the community. At least I've seen at large, and there's actually the actual points he put out earlier. But biggest one I think has been brought up is 8v8 versus 12v12, which has been an internal discussion for quite some time. What's it? General matchmaker improvements. Who knows what that means? But I think it would be nice if teams were balanced appropriately for skill, for tonnage and speed, everything like that. Particularly like tonnage. Like if I've had some experience with that. If a whole group drops as light mechs, they're up against a whole team full of assault mechs, or at least heavier mechs often. And the matchmaker does not seem to figure it out. In fact, and many times, even though we're dropping with a lance of lights, it puts lights on our team rather than the other team, when that should be a relatively easy change. He's vaguely put things like saying solution for faction play, solution for Solaris. And I think, at least from PGI's perspective, they are looking to somewhat try and revitalize these modes or make them more useful at some point in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see
Uh,
those points. Be no problem.
Other people have been talking about match scoring, how the game recognizes who is doing well and who's not. If you get behind an enemy mech and call them out for the rear CT, you're not getting really recognized compared to somebody who's just splatting tons of damage with a lock-on weapon. So that could be totally something that could be looked at. In his original notes, he puts AMS, so perhaps people are upset that AMS helps you apparently contribute more in the game, but you are contributing.
Yeah, you're doing a lot actually.
A big thing community's been asking for and has been recognized. Remove 2-minute requirement for 2 minute if you
Or
get
disconnect.
if you disconnect the 2-minute timer before you get the penalty.
Yeah.
And that's just not fair. You can't load up in 2 minutes with a lot of systems.
I mean, that's actually true because I've been playing, lately, and I've been disconnecting more often than I ever have in the last 3 or 4 years. Like almost once a day, minimum, like once a day, like when I stream or just go and play. And it's really weird. I don't know why.
And it really sucks getting a penalty because you have to boot up the game, which takes a while, log in, which takes a while, click the rejoin button and wait for it to actually load the map, which all takes a while. And you unless you're running like on SSD or something, it's not really getting there in time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there were at least a few other things lobbied. What was it? Private lobbies. There was perhaps more options could be put into the game, more spectators, more options to make things quirky and interesting. And lastly, at least dailies and weekly challenges and events.
Yeah, most games have those.
I've been hankering that for years now.
Yeah. Well, they got
Give us
dailies,
a
which is
reason.
times 2. The like XP and stuff like that. But is it XP or bill or C bills?
First win of the day has
Is it?
been in for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's just such a generic style. I think it doesn't really count.
But most games have that, like, anyways, basically, as far as you get X amount, or if you do all your weeklies, you get something cool, like say,
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I
basically-
guess 2 PTI's credit, they do have something in terms of dailies.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
they
yeah,
do.
but
But
pretty
yeah,
much,
that it takes work to implement it. But yeah, it's a nice idea.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. So maybe from the community feedback to game modes, I think we've already talked about asymmetrical modes, which would be difficult, to say the least, unless you do some kind of PvE.
Yeah, please let's not bring up, like, what was it, Clan versus Innisphere.
That's not
that's a rough
rewards
one.
for existing modes. I think this is also one of those things where you just have to make your spreadsheet and really figure it out, how the rewards turn up. We've done this kind of math before in the podcast, but yeah, it's something that's being looked at right now.
There's a whole bunch of little things in the game that at some point would be great to look at. Like, if you are alive or dead at the end of the match, it impacts your match score. Even if, like, you're an assault that gave your armor to the team, blah blah blah, you are considered a less worthy player because you actually died. Whereas in MWO, of course, armor is a resource that doesn't really make much sense, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think the main thing that really deserves attention, where also the audience should give feedback to PGI, is the meaningful objectives idea, where it's not necessarily about putting in new objectives. Of course, those have been suggested, and again, if you find something you like in a forum thread, give it a like so everyone can see that it's wanted, but also making the current objectives more meaningful. One of the ideas was to put for domination, the big raider dish, don't put it in the center, as Lars has said before, put it somewhere where you force a fight in a different area than you would get in skirmish. And also, if you put it near the border of the map, you can break NASCAR, because you can't rotate around if it's at the edge of the map. So this could be something. Well,
Yeah, and also on top of that, you could actually change that location randomly too.
Ooh, that'd be good. Yeah.
that would be an interesting
So
idea.
add a
really
little
good.
bit of variety to it, you know?
Yeah, have like 3 or 4 selections for the raider dish, and you get one of those.
And it
randomly.
spawns randomly when the match starts.
Ooh.
My only worry is the way maps are built in MechWarrior Online is that the raider dish is part of the actual map, so you would have to put 3 parallel maps out for that.
Yeah. But I think you could
Maybe
still
though.
I think you could find an equal amount of distance, for spawning. I think at least. But anyway.
When you're talking about HVG, right?
No, any map. Domination,
Oh,
the
okay.
objective in the center of the map.
Tourmaline,
Oh, okay.
Alpine
Okay.
Peak,
Yeah.
the main dish. Yeah. Try to think of like, I mean, not now, of course, but think of like 3 or 4 different spawn points that could be,
Where the objectives
variety.
are. I know every time
Mhm.
I take the objectives and we win by objectives, they get pissed. Basically,
I
like,
think, yeah, I was going to bring this up that ultimately modes is really difficult. MWO struggled for some time to try and come up with new modes, and it ultimately never really pays off.
Yeah.
That if you're spending time working on objectives, then you're not spending time killing each other, and people just really want to spend time
Just
killing
killing
each
each other.
other. In the
And
end,
it
it
usually
always devolves
devolves into
into
skirmish.
skirmish.
Yeah.
And the best thing we have instead is just conquest.
Maybe extra, C-bills and like a lot more if you do the objectives as well, instead of just battling it out and killing each other like a slugfest. Something like that.
What I
Most
like
players
about the-
don't really recognize exactly how much CBLs you get for every action in game. At least, how much do you get right now for flipping a capture point? It's been like that for years, so we must all know, right?
100 million.
100.
Yeah.
But you get 4,500 for the first capture.
See, that's
And
nothing.
that's the reason you always take with your light mech, you always just rush to all the points, capture them a tiny bit, and move on. Let someone else capture them, and then you get the first capture bonus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I like the idea with the domination wader dish.
Mhm.
It's still gonna be a skirmish basically,
Yeah.
but the wader dish is one of those few objectives in the game that can force a fight to happen somewhere else than it usually would.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So the wader dish would be a way to have one map, but in 2 different modes you fight at least on 2 different places.
Yeah.
So it's
It will give
a
some variety.
bit less stale.
Because like usually, like in
Tiny
the
bit of
first like
variety.
2 or 3 minutes, you can tell if the match should be won or not. Because you go, okay, these mechs are going there, they get slaughtered. So, okay, we're gonna lose, and usually you can tell that. So if you have it like this, at least there's at least there's something else happening, and you don't really call matches like really quick. So yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Random points for that. That's good.
Yeah.
I like
Just basically what's called, in game, move the piss stain around.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Are you done with modes?
For
I
now.
hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Features.
Features.
Features. This thread focuses on existing features that have been requested to change. Let's talk about the smaller things first, like remove the torso heat spike mechanic. By those famous water bottles has not been well accepted by the community, and I think the people are most in agreement that it should go.
Mhm.
Heat management values do not represent heat efficiency in game. I mean, yeah, numeric change. Simplify the command wheel. Okay, let's just skip over that. I think it's already.
I think the
fairly
command
It's
was
fine,
fine
yeah.
personally, but
yeah.
So,
I think it's fine.
I think I don't think it really. Yeah, it's simple for regular players, but for Lance or company commanders, it is a nightmare.
mm,
I don't think
okay.
anyone uses that though. Like I rarely see people take over like a lance or like commander and say go here, go here. I mean, once
Because
every
it serves no
cluster.
purpose.
Yeah, it serves no
And
purpose.
if you
People go
do
off and do
claim
whatever
it,
that.
you're greeted with a huge fan of
Yeah.
options that become ridiculously cumbersome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
just
like the options that are there. I think they should be kept for now. I think it's a low priority thing to be looked at.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. Can you explain the torso heat spike mechanic real quick?
If you lose a side torso that has heat sinks,
Okay, yeah,
those heat
yeah,
sinks
okay.
explode and the
Yeah.
heat gets transferred to
This is with
everything
light
else.
Yeah, okay.
engines.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's fine.
light and
Yeah.
Clan XL.
You lose capacity, but you
water
keep
bottles.
the total heat in your mech. Yeah, it's
Exactly,
a water
the
bottle
water
analogy.
bottles.
Yeah,
there.
water bottles. Okay.
You have 10 water bottles, each take 1 unit of water. You have 9 units of water. You lose a side torso, and instantly, 4 water bottles are destroyed, and all the water just spills all over the place. and that's your mech effectively overheating.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
doesn't spill all over the place, though. It gets teleported into those
Yeah.
other water
Yes.
bottles. That's the issue.
Moved into and then those are going to get overfilled.
And they
Yeah.
overfill, and overfilling is obviously overheating in this
Yeah.
analogy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
the
the
suggestion people have been saying, at least, is like you don't reduce, like you still lose capacity, but if you're at like 60%, the amount of heat you lose is going to make it so that you're 60% after you lose your water bottles.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So assuming heat is distributed to all heat sinks equally, you just cut them off.
Yeah,
Both
it feels very
capacity
bad
and
to
coolant.
have that heat spike. I like to be a bit of a contrarian though and say that whilst it doesn't feel good, that is an obvious actual part of the how the game's balanced right now, how it plays out, and it is a big downside with losing the side torso and the light engine mech, and that if you are running close to the heat limit on one of those mechs, you are running the risk of a heat spike when you actually do lose a side torso. And that is I do find that kind of, personally at least, an interesting mechanic to play around. And it rewards good heat management, or,
Well, yeah.
managing a heat curve well.
Well, you got the standard engine. If you lose a side, you don't have to worry about it. You got
Yeah.
the XL, lose the side, you're going to die, except for clans. Use a light engine, it's lighter, but you have the heat spike mechanic like on it. So those are the kind of like the balancing out, like
You're
of the
still
weights.
losing
Yeah.
capacity and dissipation is the argument. It's a question of
Okay.
whether, in gameplay terms, you are additionally disadvantaged when you lose a side torso due to the end, due to the water overfilling and all that.
Okay.
And I do actually kind of like that flavor a little bit. Like in my head, at least, your mech shouldn't just perfectly jettison the. Well, I think the percentage does staying the same amount does make sense, but I also wouldn't mind at least like it being something like 50% of the energy, the heat that you would lose, is lost. Like there's some spike, but not as sharp as it is right now.
I'm kind of with you there. I like it as a mechanic. The main concern here is that it's, again, confusing to a new player and all those
Yep.
good things. I kind of like the idea of, you have an internal explosion, which creates new heat. So even if those heat sinks just perfectly fall off and contain all of the heat, you're going to generate new heats from the engine taking a solid hit.
Yeah.
So I see the point. I see both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
ultimately, keep it simple, and that
Yeah.
is if you're at 60% heat, you stay at 60%. It doesn't jump suddenly to 80.
And I think that's the main goal for Daeron here, is that he wants to make it more fun, or let's say easier for new players to get in, because frankly, that's what we need is new blood.
New blood.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So moving on to the last small thing, as mentioned, a UI performance per scaling. Yes, please. I do want to play MechWarrior in 4K. I really do. I just can't read anything if it's a quarter of my screen. Please give me UI scaling.
Yeah.
And then the big thing that has also attracted most of the feedback in the thread so far is the skill tree discussion.
Just before we get onto that,
Yep.
with the UI, and this also is about the whole heat management values. Many people go by the heat management value in game, and that is not very well representative. MechNav Alpha, an online site made by fans, at least when you make a mech build there, it gives you a heat percentage efficiency. So by the time you cycle your weapons, how much have you cooled off the heat generated? And that, whatever the math they've done behind that is way better. In general, though, there's so many tooltips and things that could get a whole pass over, like T-comps are a nightmare to figure out what the hell they do. It's just a huge list of values and things it can and can't apply to. It's a nightmare to figure out what it actually does. And so many people get confused about what Beagle Active probes do with their targeting time. People assume targeting, I forget the exact phrasing, but people often think it refers to your lock-on times for missile weapons. It's not that. This is your targeting time, is the time it takes to learn about the paper doll of your enemy and what weapons they actually have on their loadout. So just there's a lot of words and phrasing, within the Mech Lab that is ambiguous, that could totally be touched up.
And maybe just updated too, because I know like they changed a lot of stuff and they didn't update the words for them as well, right? For the like say the tag and the Beagle Active probe and everything. because it's been like that ever since the game started.
There should totally be way more explanation for
Yeah.
how things like tag work, because it now boosts other lock-on mechs who are firing indirectly their lock-on time, and there's other weird things like tag being cancelled by an ECM bubble that most players do not know about,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
Does it? I didn't know
It
about
does.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a street
yeah.
mech with a light PPC and tag, and he's like, he really wants to stop stealth mechs, but the stealth flea is in his face, and the tag doesn't work because he's under an ECM bubble, and the light PPC
Oh, okay. If
has a
the
minimum
okay.
range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skill tree and grind reduction. What do you guys
Yeah,
think about
so
skill
regarding
tree?
I would love to see that.
Yeah, skill tree, there has been a lot of talk about. I mean, those 3 pages regarding features as of Tuesday are mostly focused on the skill tree.
Mhm.
And again, I think it's one of those really big topics that are going to get a separate forum thread in the future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think we should talk about it then.
It
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
updated, but yeah, it should be updated or
Very
reduced or whatever.
to be very brief though, at least, the grind, I think, is the easiest thing that I could agree upon and could get changed. The skill tree was implemented with a mindset of, oh, there's lots of veteran players with lots of C bills. Every skill point costs 45k C bills. That is fine for me as a vet. I can totally pay that amount, but it's terrible for the new player experience
Mhm.
because they get on a mech, they have to buy all the they buy the mech, they buy the equipment, buy up the upgrades, and they have to buy all the skill ups as well. Most new players I'm looking at on Twitch and whatnot, they're all flat broke
Yeah.
because of the skill tree. The simplest change you
Yeah.
could do: remove the C bill cost, help your new players.
Yeah. Take that out, and then also maybe shrink the nodes from like 91 to half of that, and
Well,
then
that's going to be that's much more difficult to do because
I mean, but
now
is
you have
it?
to account for
Yeah.
legacy nodes people have bought, legacy XP invested, all
Yeah,
that.
then I guess you got to redo your nodes if you were to shrink them and all that. Yeah, there is
Yeah.
that. Mm,
Well, also too, it's like don't have events where they give you double XP but not double C builds because you're sitting there like, oh wait, I got enough for 6 skills, but I don't. I can only get 1, and starts accumulating. Play that certain mech more and more and more. But you got to have those kind of things. But you're right about the legacy though. Definitely right about the legacy ones.
Honestly, at this point, I would just simplify it to the point: why do you need XP? Just give skill points after a match. You
yeah.
get partial skill points rather than XP, so you don't even
Stop
have
getting
to
rid of that dumb conversion thing. It's a
Yeah,
pain in
that
the
could be an
butt.
idea. Yeah.
keep it
Well, the
simple
conversion
and
thing makes
stupid.
money for them
Yeah,
though.
just give us skill points. Don't give us this freaking XP
There
BS
we
thing.
now have. Oh, but my mech has historic XP. I have
I don't-
a huge boatload of general XP
Well,
and the mech specific XP across
but
several
then you
variants.
get back to
Yeah,
the
and that will
conversation of
get
new
converted.
players who don't have that historic, whatever.
They will never have
So-
this work. Yeah.
But yeah, there is still the question of recognizing legacy effort put in.
Well,
Oh
is
yeah, the
ma-
legacy will always have to be considered. That's
Yeah, I guess.
fine.
Well, I guess maybe in that case, you could still keep the old system in place, maybe for the historical for the older
This is why I just said
players.
that the simplest thing is you remove entirely the C bill cost. All you have to do is
Yeah.
sit down, play the mech, and you earn, C bills on one side that buys you equipment, and XP on the other side that allows you to skill up your mechs.
Yeah. Even in that scenario, though, you have to refund the steeple costs at that point.
Yeah,
Or people
Yes.
are going to
something like
outrage
that.
AF.
Yeah.
And if
Yes.
you're refunding anyway, just convert XP to partial skill points.
Yeah.
And get rid of this whole conversion thing you have on the skill tree where you have
Which
like couple 100,000 XP and then like
which
200 or so skill
back
points.
in the
Just
day that never
simplify it.
made sense. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean that was one thing I always hated was that. So for new
All right.
players, just give them skill points. Keep it easy. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Mechs.
in terms of keeping it simple, let's no longer keep it simple and dive into Mechs.
God.
Because Mechs increase complexity
That is-
unless it's the implementation of the MechWarrior Online Dervish. At that point, it's just generic. Let's move on. I'm still butthurt about that
Just
one.
start from the very top. So
Yeah,
new
it was-
community-driven mech.
Simple. Who wants? We're gonna make a list of 4 mechs. You pick which one you guys want to have, and then they'll make it in 3 months. And that's really simple.
Okay, so there's that. But I also did email Daeron. I also had an idea. and I want to see what you guys think real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go back and pull into my fandom, which is Transformers. Okay. So this is back in 2013. Hasbro. Hear me out, guys! For God damn it!
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We're listening, Raj.
We're
We're
Okay,
listening.
I'm holding Bob down there. Okay, Hasbro, for their comics and their figures, they wanted to make a new character based from the community. Okay, so basically they had bullet points, or I guess it was more like a poll. So you had like a poll for like the alt mode, then basically the players, in this case, for us or the community of Hasbro and Transformers, it was like car, truck, tank, jet, that. Then the next one was, like basically their main weapon was like blaster, sword, mace, blah blah blah. The next thing one was like color scheme, then personality, name, gender, origin, and speciality. Would it be kind of neat to like basically take the main breakdowns of like mechs, and then break them into like groups and be like, hey, like vote for which things you want to see, and whichever one wins could be like the new
No,
mech? No,
Because Mechs are already
and
actually
here's why.
done already.
I think
Yeah,
I think this is a great idea for maps, as we've talked about
Yeah.
earlier.
maps would be good.
Yeah, maps would be
I
fine.
think next it would not work because you already have established mechs in the Battletech
True.
universe.
Yeah.
A
Then
lot of them.
maybe for the next roughneck, we could do something like that.
Maybe, but like for mechs, just again keep it as simple as possible.
Names.
Open
get it
up,
out.
open up a like one of those porting things where people can add their own entries, and everyone can just add whatever mech they want, and then vote for whatever mech
Yeah.
they
So
like. and
everyone can
by
skew for
votes.
the slowpoke.
Long
Put it
No,
right
there's
there.
only one
Crusader.
person voting for that.
Yeah.
It'd be a write-in.
You're right. I mean, that's, I like that idea because then they could work on it, and 3 months later they could pop it out. Like, instead of just making mechs and we go, oh wait, that's gonna be back there, type thing.
But,
So that's
but
cool.
that idea could be cool for like their custom mechs with they used to do it once a year. But everything else, just have like a basic like this is what we want to put out. and
My
Again,
first
this is
thought was actually along the lines, just tying in with monetization and such, would just be, okay, you're doing a new mech, a one-off thing. How will you monetize it? Will it be a mech pack? Will it be worth it for PGI to do this?
Every 3 months be fine. Because
it's,
they can
I
work
don't
on it
think
like
it's
whatever
full
they want
time.
to.
I think you have to ask the community what they're willing to pay for, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why you need a voting
Yeah.
system.
True.
What I
Yeah,
find
you want gauge community interest, go for the one with the most interest to try
Yeah.
and make your money back rather faster than a year. But a lot of people are clamoring, of course, for new packs, new monetization, etc., etc. And it is an interesting question since they're coming back to the game after so long.
True.
Well, that's next topic though. For like
yeah,
monetization.
like one final thing regarding community driven mech. I think the mech selection is where we step forward. Just do a poll. What I'm gonna be more interested in is how they're going to deal with feedback regarding the specifics. Like they're doing redesigns,
Mhm.
obviously, for most mechs. I think at this point they can heavily borrow from the Catalyst Kickstarter. They've redesigned most mechs, and for the most part, they look great.
Mhm. Yeah.
Still, they're going to add some of their own flavor. They're going to do hitboxes, obviously. And same with maps, we're going to have to see what kind of workflow they come up
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
So, future topic.
Future topic,
I'm
yeah.
looking forward to seeing how they do it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
want to see what new mechs we can get out, because that was the best content we got, was just new mechs. So I want to see what we get.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they can make it commercially viable.
I think if it's player driven and players want it, I think it's doable.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because
Yeah.
you know how they do things like the
Depends
Dervish,
on
the
how
most recent
expensive the
mechs.
development process is on their side.
That's one
Yes.
thing too, but that's a whole other thing we could get into later on.
If
Right.
they could
That's-
just buy the model from Catalyst, potentially it would be a lot cheaper than making their own from scratch. Then again, I have a rough idea how PTI models look, and I'm going to assume they would still have to make them kind of from scratch. I don't think you can easily convert those.
Yeah, I don't know if you could go from that to PGI. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
Okay.
Anyway, move on. Yeah.
New mech variants. I don't know.
I
I
don't know
mean,
what they mean by that.
there's a
don't
lot
know.
of them you can do for further. They got, obviously the Locust has lots of variants, even more in the Dark Age, and I know.
I know,
Yeah,
I
but
said the word.
it's yeah, you can do so many things. It's much
Yeah.
easier to do and much more money efficient. The question is, at the end of the day, for PGI, will just simply be, will it be worth it?
Yeah.
How do you make people pay money for it, or is it just
Yeah.
a way to keep the game interesting?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I would skip on new mech variants. I'd put that as a very low item to think about. I wouldn't
Same.
even.
I
Yeah,
I think Mechs are generic enough as is. I don't think new variants
yeah.
would add an
Every
incentive to buy them.
everyone already has their favorite of their variant already.
Yeah.
Just adding one more could be. It's not. It's not as good as. It's not as good as the one I'm already using.
You need to
Me-
revamp the quirk system before you add new
Yeah.
variants.
So I would skip that for now. I wouldn't
Okay.
even go into that.
Rescaling.
All right. Rescale Mechs.
Yeah.
Daeron talked about that's kind of no-brainer. Rescale them
Rescale
for
'em.
fun
Yeah.
rather than
Please.
volumetric. Fixed mech mobility. I know Bida is talking about that a lot as a low priority thing.
But
Honestly,
I
I
know a lot of the
agree.
player base want it.
Yeah, they do.
I know a lot of the player want it. It's a question of what's the priority for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you actually do? I think obvious charity case that needs some real help is something like the Timmy.
Mhm.
Poor Timmy, poster boy, a lot of people love their Timmies, and the Timberwolf has atrocious agility despite it having to invest quite a lot into quite a big engine.
Yeah.
And it's never
Yep.
really been the same since. A suggestion I've seen somewhere in the forums I really quite liked was that instead of just completely pressing the undo button on the engine desync, you say that all mechs have a somewhat basic baseline level of agility, but their agility does somewhat go up a bit with larger engines. This
Mm.
way, if you take a small engine, you're not, your agility isn't atrocious. You have a good baseline. But if you're investing, particularly in those really big engines, like when you're going beyond 300, like a 300, like a XL 400 engine, that is a pretty big investment, and all you're affecting is your top speed. And the
Mhm.
way it has sort of panned out is, for the most part, you just shouldn't bother. Just take a good enough speed on your mech.
Yeah.
And it would just be nice to get a little bit. The trouble with that system is that it's a bit hard to explain to new players or to show what your agility values will actually be. For somebody to really figure out how agile they want their mech to be. But I would personally really like that small engines were helped by desync, but big engines are now like, oh, there's a trebuchet that can take like an XL390. But why would you do that? It takes you 2 or 3 seconds to reach the max speed. Don't bother.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Update bolt-ons. Stay attached. That's been talked about.
Sure.
It's a
It
neat.
makes sense for
Sure.
PGI.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. If
Why,
I'm
why
spending
not?
like $10 for a
More likely
freaking
people buy
Mohawk
it.
or something like that, just stay on. To
No
tell you the
more
truth.
tag laser, but booping it off. I
Oh
mean,
God,
that's fine.
I hated that.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
get the
Technically,
trade-off of those like big jet engines on the assassin making you an obvious target, but
Hey, it's your
the
choice.
only issue I could see is damage transfer. And how do you explain to new people that you shouldn't shoot those giant jet engines? You should shoot the mech.
Yeah.
That's my main
yeah.
concern.
Yeah.
They
True.
were you could shoot them off due to gameplay concerns. It changes the outline and all that, this, that, and the other. So it was just simply, don't worry, it just falls off in an instant, and you're back to just shooting your regular old mech.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Quirks.
Yeah.
Quirks. Set of 8
Yes.
for underperformers.
Again, that's one of those spreadsheet topics.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
It
think
all
quirks should
depends
be
what
looked
they
at.
actually implement. Yeah.
But
Yep.
but I mean, just real quick, I would like him to put more interesting quirks to certain mechs to make me want to take out some of the mechs I don't use.
Yeah. Like
Yep.
That's what I want to see.
well, just like what they did with the Awesome, and firing 3 PPCs without ghost heat, and
Yeah.
I thought that was a good idea.
I want to see more fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
To
Yeah. Definitely.
give us reasons to use the mechs we don't have, where we don't use that are just sitting there.
Yeah.
Or
True.
giving
True.
flavor back to the mechs that had it removed in
Bring
the
the flavor
past.
back. Yeah.
Panther, oh no, 40% PPC velocity. We've got to tone it down. We don't want them PPCs to
No.
fly so quickly.
Yeah.
Bring it back. Bring that stuff
Yeah.
back. That's what I want to see.
Armor balance for
Armor balance,
Yeah.
farm weapons, mechs. I think that's a MechWarrior 5 topic, and they accidentally pasted it in here. Oh wait, it's actually MechWarrior Online. Okay, fine, do it. Weapon balance.
It's
Cool
this
with
is
that.
actually a big issue with the game's balance. That
Yeah.
arms are a very core component of the gameplay.
Yeah.
That they are disposable, but a lot of mechs also have weapons stuck in the arms.
Yep.
The ones they've chosen aren't necessarily the ones I think of having the biggest problems. The
Jenner
biggest
does have a
charity
problem.
issue. One I think of the biggest issue is some mechs like the Zeus. The Zeus
Yeah.
has a few energy in the center in the torso components, but if you ever want to use the Daeron missile, which you kind of have to on most variants, they get shot off really easily because the arms typically have no survival, and even if they do, they only have structure. So you just get your LB10 critted out anyway. So a mech like that, and the arms are good shield arms as well, but they get blown off so easily.
Yeah.
It leads to a huge bunch of problems with the mechs. And just like with the Zeus, if you give it a whole bunch of armor on the arms, it can actually put weapons there and not get them blown off so quickly, and it can shield itself. Wow, shielding! We don't want to encourage that.
Torso
Yeah,
twisting.
and it'd be great too because as a Zeus, you are an assault mech. You want to be able to soak that damage.
And there's a lot of other mechs that don't just look like the Rifleman or Jaeger mech that really have issues with arms. The Commando is another one of classic arm issues. All hard points in the Commando are in the arms or the CT. The missile CTs are fine, but you only have 2 slots to play with, and the arms catch a lot of flack and are often the first things to go.
The
Yeah.
best
yeah.
example is the Death Knell with the 4 medium laser in the arms. If I think
That
Death
one-
Knell, in my head, I picture the mech with no arms. Because
the
that's how I always see them.
The Death Knell at least actually has the strongest arm survival quirks of all the commandos, but none of the others have that problem really recognized. They have structure in the arms. So, I mean, your arms get opened up and then the equipment gets critted out anyway, and it doesn't even have as much survival as the Death Knell when so many of them rely on arm hardpoints. And just across the board, arms need a look at, because I think it's great to give them some extra survival so that they're useful for shielding and putting weapons in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Weapon
Right,
balance
so-
pass. Do you
All
think you need
depends
it?
what that means.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. True.
That's
Again,
a very
another
vague
spreadsheet
thing.
topic.
I just think of small pulse lasers, clan small
Yes.
pulse. That's the main one I always think about.
What, like
Got
12
nerfed.
mechs with 12 small pulse
Nah.
lasers
Like-
going
Talk about how it
towards?
got nerfed. It got nerfed
Yeah,
to the
I know,
ground
I
years
know.
ago.
That was fun
Both
though, man.
small pulse lasers on either side of the tech tree are hardly seen anymore, if at all. Weapons I hardly will ever see will, of course, be like AC5s. Don't see really anyone at all ever boasting Inner Sphere AC5s, and of course not Clan AC5s because they still haven't given them single projectiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
a lot.
And to correct Bob, that was micro pulse lasers.
Oh,
thank you.
okay, that's
Those
right,
are
micros,
effective
yeah.
because they are low on heat and you can
We
boat a
did
whole bunch of
both.
them.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. That was
definitely
fun.
did
But the-
both. I
but the
remember a
micros work
Nova with
better.
Flamer and small pulse.
The
Oh,
micros
God.
work amazing though on the Nova.
Yeah. But you had to get
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
close.
But
12 mechs.
As it is right now, I think there are some weapon systems. The small pulse lasers need a real help up. SRMs, I feel like I don't like how SRMs have a slower velocity than MRMs. They should be a bit
Yes.
more reliable to hit at close range if you actually
Yes.
aim correctly. Their clustering is a bit spread out, but I understand that's TTK perhaps. But why take SRMs when you have beautiful MRMs? And you only need one missile hardpoint to take a big old MRM 40. SRMs are so much more hardpoint dependent. AC5s I think need some help. They got nerfed a long time ago when AC5s were the voting meta. I think with all the various long range options available now, AC5s could get a little help. Just a little, please. UAC 5s, do you see that on Inner Sphere Mechs? No, I do not think so.
Never
Really?
see it.
Okay. Innisphere Omnimex and engines, and plus the engines.
That's an interesting
Yes.
one. Like Innosphere Omnis, I have a lot of experience with them in Rougetech, and I never like to use them because they have a fixed XL engine, and as we all know, IS XL engines are not ideal.
Yeah.
So the main discussion in the forum thread has been, how do you make IS XL engines survivable enough so you can field IS Omnis? Personally, I'd say if you wanna put an IS Omni-Mech in there, just give it the regular IS XL engine, and it's a trade-off, as with all things.
Yeah, and this maybe give it extra. Maybe just give it like extra armor quirks if you take a set of 8. maybe.
No, you want to allow switching, honestly. Like, as a baseline,
Yeah,
it
that's
needs to
the
not
idea
die
of
from
it.
fight torsos easily.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I really don't like the direction the discussion is going to with like buffing IS XLs if you want an IS Omni. I think that it just adds a lot more complexity to something that should be fairly simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't like the idea of turning them into basically clan XL engines.
Mm-hmm. Because at that point, why take?
Why take the other ones? Yeah. Why take
Yeah.
any like intersphere,
Yeah.
mechs
Yeah,
basically?
why would you ever take a
Yeah.
non-Omni variant if an Omni provides you with that basically a clan engine?
Yeah, so basically you want to keep them separate because you want to have that slight risk, but then you want to have the ability to take IS weaponry on the XLA because you might like the IS weapons better.
Or just like the IS
And
better.
a lot of them.
That kind
Yes.
of thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
For the most part, I think you don't want to rebalance all engines or just engines on a particular new line of mechs that you might only get one new mech for. That is so much work for, we have to be realistic. We're not necessarily expecting, years upon years of new mechs coming out. We might get one new one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Monetization. Monetization.
Monetization.
New player
Um,
packs.
Yes.
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 No
Please
brainer.
bring in,
We need them.
no brainer.
More-
Yeah.
More starter packs. Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. Once you find your wall with the trial mechs, again, trial mechs, once you find your wall, you should be able to buy a small selections of good mechs. Great way to make money for BGI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Themed packs. Absolutely. This is the way to get veterans to spend money. I have all mechs. Would I buy a NASCAR themed mech? Hell yeah, I would. Because I'm
NASCAR
crazy and I
themed
have
mech.
too much money for my own good.
I took it as perhaps a theme pack just simply being, a NASCAR theme mech is just all the fast mechs, so linebackers plus, other fast ones.
Pop culture mechs would be like the Archer, the Warhammer, Marauder, type thing. The
Yeah, what do they mean
Rougetech
by
pack.
pop culture mechs?
Yeah, the
Well,
Rougetech
like
theme pack.
Macross would be a
Yeah.
big one, because you got all the unseen in Macross, but
Exactly.
trying to think
Then
what
there are
other...
some of the mechs where you can tweak the color scheme to represent stuff. Like I think you did a really good Transformer color scheme at some point. Like this kind of stuff where you get mechs with a select amount of colors and color schemes.
That'd be kind of
on top
cool.
of the mechs.
It could
Waifu
come with a
mechs.
certain
Just like World of
waifu
Warships.
mechs.
Just like World of Warships does.
I did make a Sailor Jupiter mech years back for a contest.
In my head, though, at least the simplest thing is to say that the priority here is to try and help out new players. Those are the people who are buying your mechs rather than the vets. You have to really offer something special for vets. So really just new player packs that are viable for new players. I think that is the gold standard on my one. The others are kind of, okay, maybe.
Well, I think the other ones is adding in what's missing currently is just flavor.
Yeah.
And the important thing to always keep in mind, putting a packs together is not a lot of work.
Oh, that's so easy.
So honestly, the more packs the merrier, as long as the store has categories you can filter them by.
Then also as long as the pack makes sense. Don't just don't make a pack and be like, we made a pack. Like, make sure it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because people can see through that shit.
But that's why I think just keep it simple to start with. Your focus is on new players. That's your main market, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
The voice packs and sound packs, though, those are done by players. Like, those are done by players you could actually just go ahead and download and go input them into MechWarrior Online. But if they make certain ones, like, say, waifu ones, like in World of Warships, hey, I'm getting to
what people don't know what they're talking about.
Yes, I would buy a waifu voice pack. Yes.
World of Warships did a crossover with a mobile game called Azure Lane.
Yeah,
Azure Lane is personified battleships, but they're all waifus.
I like the irony of old Bob suggesting that, the one who talks a lot about lore. But
hey, it's already out the window, man. Come on, it's already out the.
We're gonna put in, people can do their fan art and start making the waifu of I don't know.
But this won't actually adjust anything. The sound packs and voice packs will just be for you that you go listen to.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be. It's not going to take away the lore. It's just going to basically just be for that one mech pilot. So it's not going to.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything bad. I mean, if I was living in 3025 or 3050, I want to have my computer talking to me in some female voice or something like that. That'd be fine. I wouldn't mind that. In some weird voice or hello,
But
Dave.
you already
How you
have a
doing
bitchin'
today?
Betty.
Yeah,
Well,
you already
I
got the
want
BB.
another bitchin' Betty. How's that sound? I want another
So
one.
yeah, we've moved on to the next item, which is new items. So metallic
Yeah.
paints, custom
Yeah.
UI colors, voice packs, sound packs, laser color customization, and Mech Lab customization.
Mech Lab. What do they mean by Mech
Lab,
Lab
yeah.
customization?
I'm going to assume it's just aesthetics.
I would assume so too.
And
Imagine
if
Backgrounds,
it's
like
something else, we can't talk about it because we
Christmas
don't
theme
know
Mech Lab.
details.
So in the background, you've got Christmas trees and everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right.
Oh,
well,
Okay.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
like
you know
World
what?
Tanks
Yeah,
does. World Tanks
cycle
does
it
that.
out.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
make it look different per yearly time frame for holidays and whatnot. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Do something
I mean,
different,
other
you know?
games. I mean, other games give you a different visual aspect, something to catch your eye. It's kind of
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
small.
this
It's very
this,
small.
At this point, I actually want to sell stuff, so it would be a pay $2 to get a Christmas themed MacBay background. Personally, I don't know if I would buy it.
I wouldn't.
So again, you need to really gauge your customers and see if they have interest. But if the interest
Yeah.
is there, I think this is a great idea, especially if you can perhaps integrate some of the stuff the community has already done, like the Haven Kendrick sound pack.
Yeah.
Is really good, and basically just say, hey, would you like to sell this pack to us?
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, though, is that we're talking about sound packs and laser color customization. These are things you can already do for free.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the
That
thing is,
has
though,
never stopped anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically,
well,
like,
the
The
thing,
funny question is now that they're monetizing it, they might want to stop people from changing their laser colors.
but mainly, but the thing is, though, but then by putting those things as monetization, it stops players from doing small modifications to the files, which people already do.
not
And for the
everyone does
people
it,
like,
though.
not everyone,
Yeah.
but
Honestly, I wouldn't even stop it. I would just offer it as like, here's the official version, and here's the thing
Yeah.
that the community has provided in addition to that.
I mean,
I
Okay.
do think, especially if you can just buy the community packs of the creator and say like, here's you get a whatever percent of the sale, and we're just gonna put it in officially. I do think this would perfectly work.
I don't know, man. Like, I just think because people already know how to do for free.
it won't
Remember,
take much
it's
to make. It won't
always
take.
only a small portion.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
again, the big money you're getting from whales and from new people you can pull in as the future whales.
I guess.
And having the option to just click a button in the store and be like, hey, the sound pack is really cool. I love the preview. Click, I have it. I would personally do it.
Yeah.
I
would
guess
buy it.
though. I guess maybe because like I'm more technical and
Not everyone's a
and maybe,
techie like you, man.
and
Yes.
maybe I'm just maybe I need to remove myself from my IT bubble in a sense.
Yes.
But like it's
Yeah.
I mean because me and Ian, it's like it's easy to do. But then again, maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm overthinking it. So okay, fine.
It's super
Sergeant.
easy. I would still buy it if it's offered.
I mean, I have to ask you guys how to do something. So, like, like I would buy it just because I don't want to spend my time dealing with it.
I would buy it if they plan on doing updates to it once in a while.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
If they added if they basically revamped it and updated it and added some things, absolutely. I
2
would buy
Christmas trees.
it.
For the next one.
Give me 2 different sound clips for the sound pack.
Yeah.
So ultimately, this is just going to be down to PGI figuring out the cost-benefit analysis. One big worry I have, at least with just keep adding more and more cosmetics, is that discoverability. Like laser color change, easy peasy, but you have to add a new menu somewhere to the labyrinth of menus, and how much will people actually click there and get the things? So you can sometimes at least put on a lot of work making your own voice packs and everything, and then nobody even really knows or buys it after a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the big one though is the metallic patterns. I've seen people online want that
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really easy one they could do.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, they can all make sense.
Yeah, I love the metallic patterns on some of the clan heroes and the loyalty mechs. Yes, I want more of
Yeah,
them.
pop them on a few IS mechs, and they look really nice. So I would go for that.
Yeah.
Last one on the list for monetization is improved cockpit item bonuses for added value.
Yeah, those ones where they're discussing the cockpit items that add you a more percentage for MC and C bills, right?
Yeah, we they already have those
Yeah,
out, but they were only for
XP, C-Builds,
Yeah.
loyalty points. Just kind of go through them, and the more expensive ones that are not bought a lot, just add some small bonus to it.
1%.
Like PGI
2%.
definitely has a list of this cockpit item sales this much. Just order it by sales, take the bottom tier and add the small.
Yeah.
thing to
Okay.
it. Sure.
Yeah. Simple
Okay.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Social.
It's one of those small and simple things. Social. Get rid of the unit recruitment. Siebel cost is a no-brainer. Unit recruitment social chat tab. Sure, I don't know if I would use it. I mute most of the chat tabs. all
Hooray!
of
More
them.
tabs that I don't use.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it should be fairly easy to implement since they already have chat tabs. It's just another tab. So sure, why not? Refer a friend program. Yes, absolutely. And increased API functionality. So currently with the API, you can extract a lot of data from the MechWarrior Online server. Like most notably, Charles List uses that feature to get their player data and match data. You can actually get a whole lot of data out of those APIs. I took a look at it earlier today.
Yeah.
I don't know how much value this would add, but it's nice that it's being talked about.
We have a
I
very active
personally
community, and like things with Charles List, they can make use of the APIs, and this kind of data is just otherwise not available for the majority of the time from PGI. So we get more data we can figure out for ourselves, particularly since they keep asking us so much for our opinions, and we're just some random people on the internet with no real data. The more data, well, there is data, but more data available to us means we can make better informed decisions.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's a lot of value in making information available to community. It's just a question of what do you actually want to expose, also given from a security standpoint, and how much work is it to implement that API. For the most part, putting an API out is not a lot of work if you already have a framework to do it. So say you take the API that's currently giving you game information, copy paste it, and just select a different
PGI
database.
In our last podcast, Daeron claimed oh, we know the weapons are perfectly balanced. So, just like at the end of every match, you could do weapon specific numbers go up for events. So it tracks how much damage is done with every weapon type. That kind of stuff I don't think is available through the APIs. I might be wrong.
Know.
But that's kind of data I'd be interested in. How much damage is being done with various different weapon systems? On average, what weapon systems are being used on what mechs, etc., etc. There's tons of gameplay related things, weapons used, damage done, places where players die, etc., etc. That
I doubt they're going to
game
give us
does
that
track.
information though. They won't give us that
So
type of information.
Well, it
Here's
just
my
makes the
idea.
most sense for them to, open that up for the community because they have already opened a lot of gameplay stuff.
Here's my idea. If it's as simple as I think it is, update the API functionality every time you start talking about a new topic. Say the next 2 weeks we're going to look at weapon balance. Open up the API to select all of the weapon data so the community has that intel. It's not something PGI has to do right now, but it's something that would really help if the community had it available once we're going to talk about it, because otherwise Daeron has a lot of extra work to export that data for us. And at that point, the community can just extract it themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on.
New features.
New features.
Yeah.
New features.
Yeah, like this is the most open-ended discussion ever.
It's huge.
So Matt wants his special event queue still. I still think it
I
sounds
want
like a
that as
nice
well.
idea, but there's always the risk of a new bucket.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And advancing the timeline is something that has been brought up by PGI.
That's
I would say
very
first
open-ended.
focus on really fleshing out the current timeline, like what Bida said, the weapon type from MechWarrior 5 with short duration burst, lasers, stuff like that. I believe there's a lot you can do before you advance the timeline, because
Because
that would be a major
what
project.
timeline are we currently in? Do we know?
We are in the post-clan invasion 3067.
7, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
because they had the
No,
Vietnam
actually,
Civil War.
we're in the Vietcom Civil War already.
Yeah, yeah, they already
So
had
at
it.
that point, the next step would be the Jihad era.
Yeah, Blake's coming.
And
The
that
tricky-
opens up a can of worms.
Yeah,
The tricky thing, at least, is here, like, if you want to implement any future weapons like Thunderbolt missiles would be cool, but you have to model it on all the Inner Sphere mechs, etc., etc. Whereas, I still think, like as Ian mentioned, the MechWarrior 5 system of just, hey, you have medium lasers already, just change the duration, make it as a different weapon type, and voila, easy peasy,
yeah.
extra options available in game.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that one's really open-ended, so.
Okay, I think we talked a lot about new player experience on the last
we talked
podcast.
a lot
We
about
did.
new player
Yeah.
experience.
So we could probably
let's
just briefly go over this
So
real quick.
what they've already put down, change starting tier. We've talked about that. Update trial max. We've
Do
talked
it
about
now.
a lot.
But,
Please do it
increase-
now.
So yeah, it should go down to new players should start in tier 4.5 or
Yeah.
something around there. But you do need to account for the fact that you have zero-sum implementation over time, depending how much you rely on new blood. All the tiers are somewhat being dragged down because everyone is starting at a lower tier.
Yeah. Update trial mix,
I
yes.
think that's a
I'm cool with that.
Increased cadet bonus, yes. Mech base, MC, yes. Update the in-game tutorial. We've given a small number of suggestions for that one. It's mostly fine. It just needs some detail work. Establish new player video tutorials.
Yep.
Sure.
Especially if you can involve the
Absolutely.
community.
Yeah.
Update the MechWarrior Online Discord channel. I think they are planning to take the MechWarrior 5 Discord they already have and just expand on it for MechWarrior Online.
That's totally fine.
Sure, especially if you can get player to help.
Yeah.
And update the wiki and add wiki contributors. Also, absolutely yes.
You know, I didn't
two
even
things-
notice the wiki was even there until we talked about it on one of the podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth, I had no clue.
Yeah,
it was
because
there.
it's a very small part of the player base, and not many people know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think everything in here is a yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, by
I
far.
would say everything in here, do it now or do it soon. I would say
I would add though that it is missing a few things. So just to
Sure.
like, this is the picture we've talked about last time.
yes.
What I think is kind of necessary is a guide through the MechWarrior UI. I think that's something that's blatantly missing from this list, and that's absolutely necessary to not confuse new player. And a second thing I found interesting that some people have been talking about is some kind of way to get player help. So say you're a new player and you want help with getting started, you can look at the tutorials, or maybe you want help from a experienced player. And I do like the idea of getting help from experienced players, so this would be one of the suggestions for like something like a mentor system where you can just say, hey, I need help, and then some of the experienced players get notified, here's a new player who wants help, would you like to help him? And
Well,
then
they
you
have
just click add friend.
on the forums. They got a new player thing. They got a new player forum.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
So
is
currently
like
you have the
basically
new player
in-game.
forum, which is really hard to find though, especially if you're a new player. You probably don't even know about the forums. So just some kind of integration into the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
I think that's great. Yeah.
And to reiterate an idea we talked about before, at least, is customization of either trial mechs or your own starting early mech, so that new players don't have to spend all their C bills figuring out the mech lab.
Yeah. And that was in Ian's screenshot we just saw earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like there are a fair number of things in our suggestion that should be looked at. But
It'd be nice.
Of course, we're kind of biased because we came up with it. So
I mean, that's true, but it's also seen in other games. And I saw some people mention that it's called breadcrumbing, where you give them crumbs along the way to show them what to do. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a little worried when the text says update in-game tutorial, and in-game tutorial sounds to me just like the MechWarrior Academy thing experience, and that could be a lot of work compared to just doing the breadcrumb trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, granted, we went over in a past podcast, but we thought that the actual academy was okay
Yeah, it wasn't too
for the
bad.
most part.
Yep. That
So
would be
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
if you would like more details on our new play experience, go ahead and listen to the last episode of the first circuit. I'm fairly certain Bob can give you a timestamp for that in the description.
Towards
yeah,
the
let's put
end.
that down below somewhere.
Yeah,
so.
basically, I'll put it down below.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it down below.
Okay,
Like,
so that's a lot of stuff for
It's a
MechWarrior Online.
lot.
yeah.
We've talked a lot longer than we planned to.
Now, these are just suggestions that
Yeah.
Daeron's going to bring to the developers and say, and developers will say, no, that's impossible. Or they'll say, yeah, we could work on that, and whatever Russ says, basically, too. So these are just suggestions that's been that he's accumulated over time from different player groups and different people of what the community wants.
We
Yeah,
have to
and-
wait and see how it all pan out. At
Yeah.
this current stage, of course, PGI are predominantly focused on delivering MechWarrior 5's DLC by December, and also putting MechWarrior 5 on Steam. And yeah, they'll then have holidays, and it's only next year that they'll really start working on MWO. And with how PGI works, they say he's kind of looking perhaps just to 3 or 4 updates next year. So we're really only going to see something coming out March.
Yeah.
Which is the one thing is that everyone needs to keep in mind, set your expectations to not the end of 2020. I've seen people harp on Daeron, and I feel really bad for him because it's probably a lot to take in for him. Give him time, along with his team, to absorb all of these comments, everything going in. Is that change takes time, especially for a company. You can't just for a small company, you can't just drop of the hat, change everything, or even change what they're calling the low hanging fruit. They really need to think about what it's going to affect.
However, what we've talked about with Daeron last episode, what Bida said, I do agree. If you have things that are easy to do, they should be done soon. If PGI has the resources, however, no promises from any side. So dear audience, please bear with us, please bear with them. Stick with MechWarrior Online. I'm still a hardcore Battletech fan. I want the game to still succeed.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to wait. Please give the game a chance.
Yeah, and
in my head, this is sort of the way I would set my own personal expectations. Go on YouTube and find a video of a sloth, climbing along a tree. Just imagine it's got the PGI logo on the sloth. Now, you could put up a tasty leaf in front of the sloth, and he might try it, he might not, but he's taking a while. So just keep putting leaves on the tree, and in a few months' time, the sloth will be at the end of the branch, and something might happen. Maybe the leaves will have an impact, but that's
just
how you should
picture yourself the British Parliament.
Or Ian, but also the fact of we're talking about sloths eating the leaves. And then Biter's like, oh, well, then let's see what happens when he eats the leaves. The sloth is just going to poop something out later on.
It's just going to eat the leaves and long long time later, it will poop something out. And
pooping PGI's content is not shit.
Now you've changed it, Lars. God damn it.
Well, I'm taking his analogy. That's what he's saying.
That does poop that actually is good is that cat coffee from basically eats the coffee beans and poops out the coffee beans.
I honestly do not think that it's that great.
It's $60 a cup, man. $60.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it's
not great though.
Okay, fine. We'll go with the cat coffee analogy instead of the sloth eating the leaves.
Okay. Well, it's poop, so I mean.
Yeah. Anyway, please use the chance to give Daeron and PGI feedback. Yeah. The forum threads are up and open. You can actively participate in the discussion, or you can just read the initial post and just kind of type out your opinion. Daeron is hired full time to
go and deal with
read through those things, so you can give him work and homework to do. He's up to it, the task.
Yeah, he's up to the task. Let him do his thing. By next year, we're going to see something. And for a player who hasn't played in a few months, I want to get back in and begin playing again.
I do too, actually.
So, Yeah.
It's amazing. The sloth wasn't moving, but now he's kind of moving. He can see leaves in front of him. Maybe something will happen.
The leaves are moving to the sloth. The tree is alive and it's moving the leaves
mean,
to the sloth.
The coffee
Perhaps to be
beans are in a
appropriate
cup,
for
though.
Daeron, that the sloth is working really hard to go forward, and it's just getting leaves thrown at it like constantly.
The thumbnail will just be a sloth. There's a mouthful of leaves.
Oh God.
I want all those leaves. I want them, but I'm not fast enough to grab them. You need to throw them slower.
Okay.
I'll make a thumbnail, one
Moving on.
jokingly, one serious, and we'll see which one takes.
The non-serious one. Come on. Okay.
Alright.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's go.
So we've talked a lot about MechWarrior Online. Let's talk about the other exciting things in the Battletech franchise that have been happening, at least quickly, because we are running out of time.
Yeah.
The Battletech Clan Invasion has shipped, as far as I'm aware, nearly 100%, with Asia currently being in the last stages
Nice.
of fulfillment. And most
see it.
people should already have it. And
Herbie. Yep.
I'm just
I know.
gonna say it's a real freaking beauty.
I have a friend online that's actually that's sending me one of those, and
That's
basically he
nice.
got like 3 of them, and so he's gonna send me one. I'm just like, cool, thanks, man.
3.
Yeah, I
man.
can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah. I also got 2 of them. However, my girlfriend has already called tips on the second one, so I can't.
Yep.
I can't give it away.
Lucky.
Sadly.
And then
Anyway,
I got my wife
so-
the basic pack too.
Originally, we kind of wanted to take this opportunity to talk about a bit about the content of the Kickstarter and its quality. I think we should probably delay that to a future episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
definitely.
just to give you guys a maybe glance, the box set is mostly standard, what you would expect from a Battletech box set. What I was very positively surprised is this little booklet, which features a story by our own Blaine Lee Pardo, which has been featured on the First Circuit podcast in a past episode. Go ahead and watch it; it was really good. Which gives you a great introduction into the original Clan Invasion setting. And yeah, I mean, I was positively surprised with the quality of the miniatures, the cards, everything was really great. My only really concern or gripe with it was the die bag, which I think was heavily overpriced for what it was.
Mm.
But beyond that, I'm super satisfied. And yeah, if you're interested, we're gonna dive more into it in a future episode, maybe.
I think my main concern right now that I just noticed was the Irby, basically the box. This is not the card that comes inside of it is not is bigger than the box itself, and so it's a little bit curved.
Concaved.
Yeah, basically. So now this is I mean, not useless, don't get me wrong, but I wanted a pristine card, like instead of actually like what this is here, because it doesn't actually
You're
fit.
gonna get it graded and framed.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Interesting though. My cards were fine.
Really? Because this it won't fit in. It doesn't fit in.
Yeah, there are some minor quality issues. Like most of these things are assembled to some extent, and there are differences in quality from box to box.
Mm-hmm.
But again, future episode probably.
Yeah,
Overall,
there's
really
always
great.
sometimes going to be little issues like the postman dropping the box, etc.
Oh, that's fine, but this is a quality control like issue though. That it should have
it's in
been
the
just
box.
a quarter, like a 1/4 of an inch bigger than the card would actually fit inside of it.
I would
And-
be curious to see if mainly other people have had the same issue. So down below in the comments, if you've
Yes,
gotten the same
please.
thing, let us know how many many down there have curved cards.
Yeah, curved cards
I
in
have
every
one
box.
major gripe of the Clan Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
The boxes are really big, and they're way too pretty to throw away. So now I have to find a way to store all of those pretty boxes because I can't bring myself to throw them away.
Oh
I mean,
god,
someone
yeah.
had to make the box art. It's very nice looking.
Yeah, I mean
you
it's
know?
beautiful how they did the packs, the newspaper
Yeah.
packs, all that kind of stuff. I love how they
Yeah.
did that. That's beautiful. I just want to buy one just to go store and one just to have, basically, because they look so nice.
Honestly, I might just put most of those miniatures back in the packs to present them, rather than just putting them on my glass table.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
put it back in the box and present the boxes with the miniatures inside them.
Do you have a
because
problem with
it's
your
so-
cats? The cats playing soccer with
Also
them?
that, yes.
Yeah. True. But yeah,
So,
it was really cool. It was really cool.
Clan
And I-
Invasion, super cool. I am super excited about it. The rules are simple and great, and I would love to talk about it in a future episode. when
Okay.
we
Look at
have
that
more
little
time.
guy.
Yep.
Oh,
Meow.
you're cute.
2 weeks
He's
they get
adorable.
forever homes.
They're adorable.
They are.
They're so tiny.
I know. I miss it. I
Cats
miss
grow up
it.
so
I
fast.
miss when mine was that small. Now he's this big muscle cat.
I saw
Yeah.
your cat, man. Oh my god, that guy's huge.
Dude, the thing is though, he that's all muscle.
Yeah.
This is a giant muscle cat.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy. He's
Yeah,
beating up.
my
He's
cat's
beating up
channel just
mine.
exploded from this
Okay.
to this.
Okay,
But
so we
also,
got the clan evasion.
I'm
on.
Welcome
Moving
to the first
on.
Catcast episode number 1. This is a 2-hour-long podcast.
We could go on about that
Okay.
forever. Anyway.
Hey, special episode. Who knows? Christmas special. We're gonna talk about our cats.
Oh, that'd be
I'm
cool.
up
Chris,
for it.
yes.
We could do that.
We could do that. A Christmas cat special.
Just put all the cats in the cam. We'll just leave, and they'll just talk amongst themselves. There you go.
And we'll do the voices for them.
So
Before we dive too deep into the cat cast, one
Yeah.
final thing. Again, I think this is something we're probably going to delay to future episodes.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
interested, please type in the comments and give us your feedback that you want to hear more about it. Did you guys ever want to be a tanker in the Battletech universe? I certainly do not want to be a tanker in the Battletech universe. I don't even want to be a tanker in real life. I want nothing to do with military. But yeah, anyway, if you want to play tanks, you can now play tanks in the Battletech game by Harebrained Schemes using the Rougetech mod pack. They have all the tanks. They have all the Vtols that they had previously playable. They have battle armor. They have even large military buildings.
Holy
which
cow.
is just a code name for a 175-ton super heavy tank, which is about the armor of 2 full assault mechs. So
Yeah,
it's impossible to kill.
Hold on, you can play the.
Anyway.
you can play all
How
this?
do you salvage that giant tank? Do you have to destroy like 3 of them?
Yeah, basically.
Mm.
Huh.
It's Rougetech uses a specialized salvage system where it's based on the total damage, the location damage, and yeah. So
Yeah,
it's I'll be honest, I haven't completely understood it yet. I just kind of kill stuff, and at some point I get it.
Can you
Easy
edit the
salvage, yeah.
loadout of the tanks?
No, you cannot yet
Ah.
edit tank loadouts.
Boo.
Still, a
It
rumble
is
tank be
still
cool. A
It
rumble
is
or
still
patent.
super awesome to play tanks. Like
Yeah.
most of these stock tanks are really fun and unique. That's the
Mhm.
important thing. They're all unique. They all offer something
Yeah.
special. The flying vehicles are absolutely amazing,
Hmm.
and they're so much better in your hands rather than the enemy hands.
Well, you would think,
And-
yes.
Now, which pack is
It's-
this? Is this 3060 or
This
what?
is Rougetech.
Rougetech, yeah.
Just Rougetech itself.
It's the
It's
biggest
a
pack.
mod.
It's also the most complicated ones. You can, however, nowadays tune down to still keep it easy-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you guys want to hear more about Rougetech and how to use tanks and all that kind of good stuff, I would love to talk about it.
Yeah, let us
Okay.
know.
I would love to give you guys
'cause-
screenshots and videos and
yeah.
all the good things, because playing with full tank-only company in Rougetech is so weird and so fun.
I need to look into
It's
that,
so
yeah, because
different.
that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a whole new game. It's
Yeah.
great.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Cool, very
Mm.
cool. Okay. So was there anything else we had going
there
on here tonight?
Last little thing, MWO has had a patch updating, what was it, Solaris Competitive?
Oh yeah, there was a patch. That's right. I
round-
forgot.
updated
Oh
they
yeah, there's a
had.
patch. Yeah, there's a
What's
patch.
a patch?
What's a
Yeah.
patch?
I love
Um,
how we talk about our excitement for future
God, we
things,
didn't even-
and
we didn't
then
even
we
care
just
about the
kinda
patch.
ignore the patch.
Because it's not a patch. It's you get a 7-year anniversary cupcake. That's all you're gonna get. Hooray!
You're
That's it?
going to get your loyalty rewards.
Yeah.
If you pick
Oh
from
yeah,
that.
that too.
So, I played at least 100 matches at this point. So, yeah, a bunch of C-bills and stuff.
I
Yeah.
should probably log in for that.
Yeah, so there's another Solaris reset. It's just the usual stuff. You get rewards if you've played well enough in Solaris.
You get decals.
Decals.
And
Right,
I
so-
actually
Yeah,
think
that's right.
that's it. It's just the reward program and the Solaris 7 season reset and
Yeah.
rewards.
Yeah.
So log in, get rewards if you did it. Great.
I think all character has just a cupcake and that's it. Basically. But Bob doesn't have anything. I haven't played him as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay.
Oh, but hey, if they go ahead and they do all these really cool updates that the player base is going into next year, I will be playing this game a lot more.
Yeah.
Because
And
this
actually might
game,
spend some money too. To tell you the truth.
yeah, spending money
Yeah.
on MechWarrior Online. That's an unheard of item.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
You guys are shills. You're not gonna spend any money. Shut
No,
up.
I
How
did
is it
before.
still from the past? I
spent a lot of
don't
money
even-
like
There's
beforehand.
no new mechs for them to get for free anymore.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, which being the influencers that we were, we did get some pretty cool swag. but-
Influencers, yeah, right.
yeah.
I mean, if the metallic patterns come out, you're just gonna get them.
I
don't
doubt it.
know, man. I doubt it. And for
If
that,
they
because
ask Daeron nicely, they
Yeah,
might,
please,
but,
Daeron,
if I
give us
ask
metallic
Darren
pattern.
nicely with sugar on top, I might get some cool stuff again.
Yeah. Okay,
But-
so
Anyway,
that was episode 131 of the First Circuit Podcast. Thank you for being here. We do appreciate you watching, listening, and everything else. We are also on Spotify. We're also on a whole bunch of Google Podcasts. I'll have all the links down below. So check us out down there. It's amazing. I've been having some very good feedback from Spotify and everything else. And so tonight's hosts were Ian,
Bye-bye.
Larsh,
bye-bye.
Biter.
what noise do sloths make?
Oh.
They do make that noise. It's like no, it's a really weird noise. No, you gotta go higher than that.
Okay, so and we have Biter. Say bye, Biter.
Bye, I guess.
Okay, and myself, Fullbot 10025. Once again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you later on the First Circuit Podcast, episode 132. Bye.
Ah!